Hi loves, welcome back to the channel Style by C. Today's tutorial will be on how to recreate this beautiful free gown. Do subscribe to the channel, share to friends, don't forget to give us a thumbs up for more interesting videos, and leave your suggestions on the comment sections. Thank you so much.
So guys, the first thing I did was to fold the fabric into four. So my fabric is on a fold of four here. I used my body measurement, the largest body measurement, which is the hip measurement. So my hip measurement is 9.5 inches, and I added extra 4 inches to it for ease, 2 inches for similar, 4 inches for ease. Okay, so you can decide to work with 3 inches for ease. It's totally fine. Okay, because this is a very free gown. If you want it tight on you, fine. Okay, so the choice is all yours. So the first thing I'm going to do now is, this is my start line. I'm going to mark my shoulder measurements, which is 8 inches. You can decide to work with 7.5 inches, depending on your shoulder measurement. So for this tutorial, I'm going to be working with 8 inches. Then what I have here is 6 inches. This is what I'm going to be using for my sleeve, because this is going to have a cut together sleeve. All right, and we're also going to be having some pleats at the tip of the sleeve. So now at this point, I'm going to come down to half an inch. I decide to come down to 1 inch. So I'm coming down to half an inch for my shoulder slope. Then I'm going to mark my neck width on this shoulder measurements here. So my neck width is 3 inches. I'm going to go ahead and connect it to my shoulder slope. This is what I have. Now the next thing to do is, we're going to be marking our arm opening, armhole opening, okay, or arm opening, where we're going to pass our sleeve. So I'm going to be working with my nipple point measurements, which is 10 inches. So this is where I have my 10 inches here. So at this point too, this is where I'm going to insert my bust measurement. Now I'm going to place my tape back to my start point line, which is the shoulder measurement, and I'm going to mark 16 inches. 16 inches is where I'm going to place my waist measurement. Then 24 inches where I'm going to place my hip measurements. Okay, so for my bust measurements now, I have 8.5 inches. Go ahead and add your 3 to 4 inches seam allowance for ease. So for this, I added only 3 inches. Then on the waistline, I will still repeat the same thing on my waistline. The same thing to the hip line too. So when I'm done now, the next thing to do is to connect these points together. Okay. So I'm going to connect from my waist. This is my bust, this is my waist. I'll connect these 2 points together. The same thing to my hip, from the waist to the hip measurements, then to the bottom of the gown. Okay, so for this area now, where we have our bust and the waist, what I'm going to go ahead to do is just make a slight curve inwards here. Okay, so this is what I have. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut this piece out. Please note, both the front and the back are here. When we are done, we'll now cut out our neck depth. So this is what I have. So I'm cutting through towards the hip point. Then from the hip, I'm cutting down to the hem of the gown. So this is what we have. Now at this point, we're going to be marking our neck depth. So for the back piece, our neck depth is going to be 2 inches. And for our front piece, our neck depth is going to be 4 inches. Okay, then our neck depth for our front, so you notice that we have two parts of the neck. We have the round neck, and we have the one that has a slit opening. Okay, so now I'm going to first of all cut out the round neck, which is going to be 4 inches or 3.5 inches. If you want it to be tight on you, 3.5 inches, but I don't want anything that will be choking me, so I'm going to be working with 4 inches. So this is what I have. Now for the one that is going to have the slits, I'm going to mark 3 inches for my slit. So this is what I'm going to have. Here is going to be where my slit is going to be. So we'll now go ahead and cut out the facing for our neck piece. Area of my front piece, this is what I have. I run a stitch on it round, and then where we marked our second slit, that's the second piece of the neck, I also made a stitch, a tiny stitch, 2 stitches here. Then I went ahead to open it up. Okay, so when you are done, you notch it, then flip it out to this point. So when you are done with this now, this is what you're going to have. What you do here is you kindly work with a hemming gum to hold them together, or you can decide to run a stitch on it, maybe give it a design, a nice design on this area. All right, for now I'm not going to be attaching any hemming gum because what I'm working with is a gen. I'm not working with a NEPA light, so I'll do that later. So what I'm going to do next now is to join my two shoulders together. That is my front shoulder and my back shoulder. So this is for the front, so I'm going to introduce the back shoulder to this. So for my back shoulder, this is what I have. I'm going to go ahead and join the two of them together and run a stitch on it. Okay, quickly. Guys, after joining my shoulders together, the next thing I'm going to be doing now is to measure what I have around this my armhole area. Okay, so this is it on a fold. Then when I open it up, this is what I'm having. So I'll go ahead and measure what I have here. So let's do it together. I have, let's say, 19 inches. So I'm going to multiply these 19 inches. That's it, sorry. 18.75. So I'm going to make it approximately 19 inches, and I'm going to multiply it by 3. All right. So that is how long my strap is going to be. Remember, we're going to be pleating the straps here. All right. So guys, I've gone ahead to cut out the strap, and this is what I have. This is how long it is. All right, and I have it is 5 inches bold, and I'm going to be folding it into 2 this way. So this is how I'm going to fold it, and I'm going to attach it to the arm area of our gown. So this is what we're going to do now. When we get to our sewing machine, you place it this way, right sides facing each other. So if I place it here now, I'm going to be pleating it little by little till I get to the end of the sleeve. Okay, guys, when I'm done attaching my pleats to my sleeve, this is what I have. This is what it looks like. All right, so the next thing I went ahead to do, it was off the camera, was to shape my dress. Remember, we used 4 inches for allowance, 2 inches for ease, and 2 inches for the actual seam allowance. So that's what I used to shape my dress, okay, to the bottom part. Now if you want to attach a pocket to yours, it's optional. You can go ahead and do that. So what you have to do is, from this arm area, you go down by 10 inches. So what you have to do is measure where your 10 inches lies, and this is where mine falls. All right, so you're going to give a spacing of 7 inches. then from there you continue down. So this is where I'm going to go ahead and fix my pockets. This is optional if you want yours to have a pocket. Pockets, my pocket is 14 inches wide, both sides and length. Everything is 14 inches. Then you go ahead and fold it into two, run a stitch at this area, the same thing on this part, leaving this place open. Please don't close up these stitches here, just leave few inches for your joining. All right, so you go ahead now and fix it to your gown.